half of an hour or 45
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, man.
Good. What we're going to do is say hello to you first, and then we'll. This is perfect, and then we'll sort of chat about lots of things, and this is going to end up on. Oh, okay, okay. So we're going to see people. Oh, so you're going to casually sort of sit around like there's no one watching.
Yeah.
I like that BeardBrand in the back. I like that. Hey, there on the wall. I like that.
Sure.
Good. Is that
Okay.
your final setup? Do you think?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Um, okay, yes. So this is going to be obviously a podcast. We're going to record this, and then we're going to maybe also put it on YouTube if it's good enough quality, and if it's and if it works. Hold on, my battery's going to die in a second. Right, good stuff. Are you ready?
I was born ready, man.
Hello, everyone. This is another podcast episode or YouTube episode or whatever you're going to be consuming this with the man himself. This is the most exciting episode so far. I'm not saying it's going to be the best. We'll see how it goes, but it's definitely the most exciting at the start because the man himself is here. Eric, hello. Welcome. Good to see your beautiful face. Hello from Liverpool in the UK.
What's going on, Michael?
Are you going to be doing this voice for the entire interview? I challenge you to this voice for the entire interview. We see how it goes.
Yeah, I could do that.
Eric, for two people that don't know who you are, can you give us a brief explanation of who you are and BeardBrand, what you're all about?
Yeah, so I am the founder of BeardBrand. BeardBrand is a men's grooming company. We focus, obviously, on beard care, but we get into a little bit of hair care and skin care, and then like self-improvement as well. So we're a bootstrap company located here in Austin, Texas. And yeah, man, we've just been grinding, working hard, trying to help our audience keep on growing, as we say.
Oh, I love that. I love that because that tagline that you're using is just, it's with you everywhere and it suits you and it's sort of part of who you are. So I love that.
Thank you.
Okay, so what do you mean bootstrap company? What does that mean?
So bootstrap means that we don't have any outside money in terms of bank loans or investments from investors or VC capital. So everything that all the growth that we've seen have been from our own sacrifices and then putting those resources back into the company to be able to grow. So bootstrapped essentially just means growing your business the hard way.
Exactly.
I mean, all business, growing any kind of business is hard.
Yeah.
So it's not to say the alternative is
It's easy.
easy.
Yeah.
It's certainly not true. But
Mm.
to do it with less capital is a little more challenging.
Okay, so why go this route? Why not to take few bank loans, few investments, and have the easier route? Why would you want to do a bootstrap then?
Yeah, every time you take money, you're giving up a little bit of control, and when you give up that control, you lose a little bit of execution of your vision, I would say. And in some cases, it's good because ultimately you could get perspective about your business or the market that you wouldn't see just internally. So it's not like a good or bad thing. It's just kind of a preference with how you want to grow. So yeah, I mean,
It's growing. It's looking good. So you're obviously making the right decisions. The podcast and the topic that we're raising here on this podcast and on YouTube, it's all about making men look smarter, but it's not the looks. It's definitely not only about that because you can get plenty of that online anyhow. But it's more to do with okay, if someone wants to start a business, if someone wants to start a YouTube, Instagram, whatever else, like how do they do this? And and I obviously would like your perspective on how people could start. What could people do right now these days in order to start a business easy? What would you do differently if you have to start it all over? That kind of. I know there is probably a huge amount of brands like BeardBrand that are in this grooming and facial hair, and whatever different products. There's probably plenty of them out there. But you somehow different, you bigger, you growing faster. There must be some things that you're doing right. So what would you say you're doing right versus what other people don't do, or because that would be very fascinating to have your perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, so when it comes to you've got a few questions in there, and I want to try to answer.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm just gonna go on and ramble for a little bit. But when it comes to starting a business, you really have to be able to take a step back and analyze not just the marketplace, but your own talents and what your skills are, and then see how you can take your talents and your skills and apply it to a business.
What's your talent?
I'm just a really attractive guy, so.
So there's two of us then.
No. I think that is one of my talents is being able to see the future, to see a vision, and to be able to communicate that vision to others so that they can execute on it. And to be able to tell a story. I think I'm pretty good at telling a story and being able to, that whole storytelling comes into play with like being able to communicate your vision. So I'm pretty good at that. But so like with building a business, at the purest sense, you have to have a vision for what it's going to become. And it can be anything from like, trading time for money, consultancy type of business that is what others would call a lifestyle business, or a more modest business that can still generate a lot of revenue, all the way up to a Facebook or billion-dollar unicorn business. So like the Elon Musk type of world. So and everything in between. So you have to have that vision for what you want the business to be. And then you have to also visualize how you're going to get there. And some of that visualization could be like that bootstrapped and, trading when you have more time than money, then figuring out how to spend your time on things that are going to generate the most amount of revenue or get in front of the most amount of potential buyers. Or potentially you have more money than you have time, and figuring out how to best utilize that money in a way that allows you to expose your company and your brand to the most amount of buyers.
Eyeballs? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Not just eyeballs, but kind of potential buyers and stuff like that. So,
what would you do differently if you were to start over again? Is it easier to start a business these days than it was, a few years ago when you started? Because it was only 5-6 years ago, right, when the BeardBrand was born, right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Any kind of business is hard. I don't think there's any business out there that's easy. And if you want to start a business, there's no, everyone out there who's selling, all these get-rich-quick books or, how to become a millionaire or whatever, they sell the dream. They got the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, and all the rewards of their hard work. But the reality is, business is really, really hard. It's always been really, really hard, and it will always be really, really hard. So you have to have this kind of perverse drive to want to persevere through those really, really, really shitty days. And there's going to be a lot of shitty days as an entrepreneur. So, my lessons I've learned, I mean, focus is probably the biggest one. Do what you do well and make it better every day, every month, every year. So, and that's how you're going to separate yourself from the alternatives, by doing what you do well, but even better.
Because it's obviously you're talking a lot. What you just said means means a lot of woo-woo for people who don't understand what you're talking. Like people who don't have a business. What you just said means not like. What do you mean? Follow whatever's in your head, and you like. What does that even mean? So I'm thinking, okay, for someone who wants to start a business and they don't know what's the vision, well, they don't know what 5 years looks like in their eyes. Would you say that they should have a partner or someone who has got that vision or has got the idea of how that 5 year plan look like? Does it mean that you should listen to other people in terms of strategy and seek any other information that you haven't got? Would you say that's or is that a risk that you?
Yeah, I mean, so you can have a plan that for the first 6 months of the business. I'm going to be willing to shift and change perception based on the feedback I get from my customers and my peers and stuff like that. So that can be part of the plan as well. But you have to do things purposefully. If you don't have any vision or plan or goal with your business, then it's 100% going to fail. There's no point doing it. Work with other people who are doing the things that you want to do to understand how they live and think before blowing all your money and your time and your resources. Yeah, your business is without that vision, it's just going to fail.
Okay, so you've got a vision. You are the driver for the vision in your business, and then you're talking to your managers, you're talking to your people in your team to say, okay, I want to be there. I want to, I don't know, be at the a Shark Tank, right? How do we get there? Do you also then sort of take you step by step, or you sort of give that task to them and they sort of execute on that? How does that work in terms of being a visionalist to then structure that to everyday tasks for someone to do? Do you do that as well, or you hand that over to someone else?
Yeah, so I mean, 6 years into the business, I've done it all different ways. In those early days, I was the only employee,
of course,
and essentially I was a part-time employee at that. So being able to transition from this person who can see problems, solve those problems, execute on the problems, to hiring people who can see problems and execute on those problems, to eventually building systems and processes that allow people to quickly understand what the problem is and to be able to execute on those problems and solve those problems and move the company forward. So we're kind of at that stage right now where we've built a lot of the systems and the processes that allow the team to come in and execute on the tasks that they need to do to move the company forward. And then the goal, I'm still in this management type of role where I help my team understand, what are the tasks that we need to be working on now. But eventually I want to move into this pure vision role where I'm working with kind of like the leadership team to make sure that the vision is executed on, and that leadership team will make sure the tasks are being executed on to follow up on that vision.
How do you sort of deal with distractions in a way? I'm not talking about the sort of pings on your phone. I'm thinking about the sort of the new areas of growth or potential, like, I don't know, let's say The Voice, right now is so hot, and everyone talks about, being on Alexa skills and podcasts and whatever else, right? How do you deal with the sort of still maintaining your core and not sort of jumping all over all of a sudden because you found something, that it's shiny on the other side? How do you... Or do you try to incorporate that all the time? Or do you
I mean, so going back to what I said earlier, one of the lessons I learned was to have more focus and more conviction to doing the things that we do well. And that was kind of like a learned lesson where we did try to do this and that. And part of like the learning process is trying all those things. But for us, it's been... a reminder internally that our internal keyword at BeardBrand is focus. And it's like, how do we focus on the things that we're working on and bringing it back to do what we do well, but do it better. Which to a certain degree, as an entrepreneur and a creative person and an ideas guy, it takes a little bit of the romanticism out of being an entrepreneur, but at the same time, I enjoy building successful businesses that are sustainable and profitable, and can pay the team and grow the team and stuff like that. So,
because I know we spoke about you being sort of creative, and that's how it all started back in sort of Menfluential. I think it was last year, where we sort of sipped cocktails at the top a rooftop bar in Atlanta, and and you said about being creative, and how often does that somehow gets in the way of doing business in a way that you want to have a beautiful things. You want to spend more time on designing a thing rather than get things done. Is it
no,
80%?
Well, so I think it all goes back to, what makes a successful business is that vision. And then when you have that vision, you're able to outline your core values. And our core values are freedom, hunger, and trust. And freedom, hunger, and trust are how we make decisions in the company. It's how we align with our partnerships. It's how we do everything. And if it doesn't fit those core values, then we've got to look for alternatives. In addition to that, it's about our mission to foster confidence through grooming. So if everything can tie back into fostering confidence through grooming, then we can move forward with it. But if it's something else, if it's not really tied in with that, then we need to scale back and have that focus and make sure we're doing the things that we're doing to move the company forward. But there's a lot of creativity, kind of with the limitations. There's always going to be a lot of creativity that you can execute on, or you do side projects, or you do, I've got a personal YouTube channel, and on my after hours or on the weekends, I'll write a book or do something like that and try to get my creative outlets out through projects that are not distracting to my team, rather than bringing it into the business and into the team and distracting them on kind of things that I want to do rather than what's best for the company.
Because you obviously have got a huge amount of dedicated followers, people who believe in what you're preaching and believe in who you are and what you represent, which is awesome. And I know we talked about this as well, about how sort of get that followers, get those people to sort of be on your side. Like, what do you do different from other companies to get however many thousands of subscribers you've got across different channels? Like what do you do? Why you are the only company out there with such a huge sort of tribe behind you, which is amazing, to be honest. So, do you know what you've done differently?
Well, I wish I knew. I think a little bit of what we do is we're authentic. We do have a mission. We are rooted in a cause that's more than just like selling products or making money. Like, to me, I don't get out of bed. It's like, oh, how can I make an extra $10 today? I get out of bed by how can we empower more men to love the person who's looking back at them in the mirror? And our team is the same way. They really thrive off of delivering an incredible experience for our customers and building products that they believe in and giving a customer an experience that they think is which should be delivered. So I think people are drawn to that. I think it's, from my experience, it's really hard to do. It's not easy. So I think a lot of companies they don't do it. And because we're one of the few companies that actually do it, we're able to garner a follow. But that, and I mean, you might be able to speak better than me. Why do you think we're a cool company?
Yeah, I mean everything. I mean, literally wherever you go, wherever you look at whatever social media, YouTube, anywhere, it's very coherent. It's very the same. It's very masculine. It's kind of that sort of green, deep feeling when you watch your content. It's like it comes out that you know what you're talking about, which is also important, I think. To know that you using the product, and I love this sort of videos that you've got on your product page. Every product page has got a little video of you applying the product, and I think that's very good. That sort of brings the confidence back into the main man is using it and is showing us how to use it, so it must be good. So I like that as well. So there is a lot of things that obviously you're doing right, as you know. Maybe yes. Yeah, no, but it's good. How does the okay? Different question from sort of different, more tactical. How would you say a person who has got a brand could grow their online presence? Not obviously producing content is one. Have lots of maybe Instagram influencers that they can use that product. What else would you say it's obvious that no one else doing, or you haven't seen a lot of people engaging with? Because producing content is kind of easy. Buying Instagram influencers, obviously, to sort of buy the advertising on their pages is kind of easy as well. Everyone sort of seems to be doing that. So, what would you say a tiny brand should do in order to grow more rapidly or grow at all?
Yeah, well, the answer you're going to hear, and the answer that I suspect a lot of listeners are going to hear, they're not going to like. But the reality is, there are no cheap tricks to get you to where you want to go. So with that in mind, you have to plan for your business. What is it going to look like in 5 years or 10 years? And how do you build something that can last for 5 or 10 years? And how can you have a message that you just repeat over and over again for the next 5 to 10 years? How does that not get exhaustive, or is it a trend or anything like that? So having the ability to think in a longer term vision for what your company or your brand is going to be about, and then having that perseverance to commit to it for that period of time. Like growing on YouTube it's not an easy thing. You got to create hundreds of videos before you really get any kind of traction. You may get lucky with one or two here that kind of blow up, or the right messaging and grow quicker than you expected, but sometimes you're going to grow slower. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners and even marketers, they give up after a short period of time, and they're not committed to their vision, they're not committed to their cause, and when they give up, you're just wasting all that time that you invested in to get to that point. So just plan on a lot of really, really, really hard work, poorer performance than you expect, and you need to have that conviction to the platform that you choose to go forward in, and to make it the best that you can.
What just another tactical question? What are you measuring in your business? Sort of, what is the metrics that you're looking at every day to sort of see if you're above or below what you're expected to see? It's not. I would assume it's not sales. That comes at some point, but it's not the main metrics, I would imagine.
I mean, every individual at the BeardBrand team has their own key performance indicators or their own metrics to kind of help tell them if they're pointing in the right direction. So depends on the person, what they're looking at, on whether or not they're being successful. But it could be everything from, like my metric, which is essentially sales, to like sales performance of emails, to YouTube watch time and subscribers, and the average turnaround time for a project, or the response time for customer service. So we've gotten to the point where our business is bigger than it was in the past, and it allows us to monitor a lot of things to help inform us if we're doing a good job or not.
But because, again, that's another thing you mentioned about emails, and straight away it sprung to mind that some of the businesses I talk to, very often they kind of use their email list and the sort of ability to email offers to people on their email list as a sort of last resort, in terms of, the sales are down this month. Shall we just put 2 emails out with 20% off or 20% off? And then the sales is back up and everyone is happy. And I've seen that time and time again, even from sizable businesses, that they're using the email list for that. What about you and your company and strategy and sort of content marketing and sort of content calendar in general? Like, is email marketing regardless of whatever happens, you email in twice a week, 3 times a week, and you post in once, on LinkedIn or whatever. Have you got a content strategy? What's your email sort of strategy like?
Yeah, I mean, we aim for 3 to 4 email blasts or campaign sends a week, and we also have what we call flows, which are automated sequences that will help educate the audience and give them like segmented and bite-sized content, direct them to the appropriate posts and things like that. So yeah, we're sending out tons of emails and trying to get people into the list and into our little walled garden and away from our competitors and things like that. So if we can just keep them on our little oasis, then hopefully we can build a stronger bond with them.
So you've got a hook that if they go on a website, they can download something for free. Is that the sort of the lead magnet or whatever people call it? You've got that, have you?
Yeah, I mean, we have multiple strategies for providing value to people so that they want to join our email list. One of them is, if you go to our website now, beardbrand.com, the main thing is to take this Beardsman quiz. And in the quiz, we give them the option to give us their email address. And about 20% of the people will decide to do that. At the bottom of every page, we ask people to join our newsletter as well, so they can join that way. And then every once in a while, we'll do like giveaways and stuff like that, and encourage people to trade their email address for an entry. So there's multiple ways with different results and different effectiveness. We'll also do like collaborations with other companies. Get exposure to their audience and their list, and subsequently they'll get exposure to our audience and our list. So, yeah, man. I mean, when you're bootstrapped, it kind of comes back to like, how can we think creatively to get the best performance, because you have such limited resources. It's like, yeah, I can do all this stuff, but I want to do the stuff that generates the best results first, and then as I exhaust that, I move down the list.
Let's play the what if game. What if you had an investor that would come in and say, tell me what you need in terms of resources, and I'll give that to you. How would BeardBrand look like in a year or 6 months? Like, what would you change? What would you do? Add to what? Add team members, move to bigger office, have more stock. What would you do first? What's the sort of priority list for you at this point?
I mean, it's always changing at our business, but yeah, we're quickly outgrowing our office. A bigger office would be nice. Just continuing to do what we do, but do it better. So how can we do video better? How can we do our paid search better, or our paid marketing better? How can we reach new audience members that we haven't reached? How can we tell our story better? How can we, develop a better product offering? So that means launch new products. So it would go into, investing in new products. It would go into investing in our story and how we tell our story. And it would go into building the team out that needs to execute on that, and making sure they're in an environment that allows them to be free, to maintain their hunger, and to be fostered and off of our trust that we've developed.
So basically, you would not change that many things in a way that you'd still remain the same, but do things quicker and just be more out there, but you would still probably remain the same at the core, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, there's there's a pipeline of years that we're trying to build out, and with excess capital, ideally, something that we would plan to launch in 3 years, maybe we launch in 12 months or something like that. So that's kind of what capital would do, would speed up the timeline for where we're going to go, but we're going to get there eventually. It's just, and I'm not too concerned with, outside forces like our competitors, because ultimately I don't control that. So we have an internal thought process on how we can just communicate with our audience and deliver the type of experience that will build loyalty to us by delivering, class-leading products and class-leading customer service experience.
UK, have you got your products in the UK and Europe right now as well? Is that possible to buy them?
Yeah. So we go to beardbrand.com. We ship out of Belfast. So the customs and duties, we've already paid those. And then just because of our platform, we have to add that at checkout. But you'll see that at checkout rather than, I know mostly all Europeans like to have that VAT included in the price. But
yes, that's true.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a limitation of our software, but
you still
man, you'll
Shopify,
get
right?
it in a couple of days. Shopify, yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's super important because I know I was talking to Aaron and his Tish Hanley and Pete and Pedro, whatever else he's doing, and I've asked him about the UK, and he was like, yeah, we're thinking about it, yeah, we may be doing this, and I'm thinking, yeah, with the international audience reach that your YouTube channel, your other platforms have, not to have that sort of ability to deliver next day or in 2 days, as you said, it's kind of a missing the point. Especially with Amazon Prime, I'm sure it's the same as US as it is in the UK. It's next day delivery, and you just want it now. You just like I've seen this, I want it now. I want to buy now.
It's a lot of logistical headaches to have exposure in a different market, and that's probably in hindsight. We probably went there too quickly. I would say it makes more sense to totally maximize, like, do what you do well, but better, So if your audience is primarily in one regional area, make sure you get all the audience that you can from that market. And then once you feel like you've totally saturated that, then move into the new market and do what you do well there and then grow that up. So I think that's going to be a more efficient way to grow, especially as a bootstrap company, than trying to do everything, serve every market when you really don't have those resources to put into it, because it's also going to be more profitable as you are more niche or more laser focused.
Okay. I sat on the mastermind call with some of the guys from Menfluential. There was all of the sponsors that were Menfluential. Mike Schwartz, who is the Rip Tea guy, organized like a little mastermind call. There was a few guys there, and one of the guys had some sort of beauty products. I think his name was Alex. I don't know whether you met him.
Oh yeah, Alex. Dalamashi or something like that.
Yeah, I think he was also one of the sponsors, sort of right at the back, and he was obviously throwing some ridiculous numbers of what his business does and whatever else. So we like all sat there like, yeah, okay, and he was like, yeah, last month we spent like $1 million on influencers, and we like. How much? But it's very interesting what they do. I mean, their whole tactic was about having 40,000 influencers, beauty and makeup artists and people like that on Instagram. So they pay them on a monthly basis. So it's between $600,000 and $1 million a month they spend on influencers. But they drive so much traffic that all they do is then use that traffic and remarket on either Facebook ads. I know you do that as well, because I've seen your ads pop in on a lot of frequency on my Facebook feed all of a sudden, because I've been to your website. So you obviously doing the same, but it seems as if that's all he does. So drive traffic and then remarket remarketing on the Facebook pixel kind of thing. Have you seen a lot of that happening on your website as well? Do you get lots of, because there's like lots of touch points a potential client has to have with your brand in order to buy, right? So my perspective on marketing is I would say I'm a little more on the paranoid side of things, and I don't like the idea of building up a business on one platform. It's to kind of go back to like do what you do well but better. You could argue, say, hey, just focus on one marketing technique, get really, really good at that, and then grow into a different marketing technique as you've established that. But personally, I think there's a lot of risk in,
if we just built on YouTube or if we just built on our blog, that, Google changes their algorithm or YouTube changes their algorithm or Facebook changes their algorithm. And all of a sudden, you have, let's say, a $1 million business, Facebook changes something, and then that $1 million business turns into nothing because that was your one channel. So we try to have like a really even shaped pie when it comes to our sources of traffic and how people are finding out about BeardBrand. And I think that's served us pretty well, and it's allowed us to have a more steady growth. While it may not be parabolic, it is pretty consistent.
Interesting, because of course, probably as you ask so many people about their opinion on how they spend their marketing budget, you would hear so many different answers, because sort of everyone has got their own take on YouTube advertising and Facebook advertising and Instagram advertising. So and
that goes back to finding what you do well and doing that first, because it's going to be something that you're passionate about and something you're going to be able to fight through the challenges, and then you can start to hire other people who are passionate about different things.
What would you say is one sort of skill or set of skills that you would rather hire as a freelance, to a freelancers, and what would you rather have in house? You've got everyone sort of that you need in house, or you're still using lots of freelancers for certain jobs?
Generally, I'd like to outsource anything that's commoditized. That I don't think that BeardBrand can provide value in the marketplace. So that's going to be everything from printing, to fulfillment, to to a certain degree, like managing our ads.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
But things that we either need to be cost effective, like our YouTube, we have to do that in house because it would just be too expensive. We want to be able to get the returns from
We've got a little
production.
studio there as well in the office. I remember you were doing touring once, yes, that you had a very nice sort of studio with lights and where you can just sort of flick this switch, right? That's the one. That's the one I'm talking about. Yes. Okay. That's the one. Okay. Yes. So that's being used on a regular basis, I would imagine, because it's so accessible, right? You just close the door.
Yeah. I mean, every day we're cranking out a video on our channel, so we have to record a lot of content. But our photographer will also use that space as well to record our pictures of our products.
In-house. That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, because obviously I'm going through that phase as well. But just sort of there is a bit of money, because obviously I'm invested in made-to-measure suits, and that has got a lot of profit in it, because it's all of a sudden you're selling 3-4 suits. It's like selling 100 bow ties. So all of a sudden it's the profit margins are there, and you think, okay, what's the next move? Where should I go? What's the sort of what's going to propel me quicker, and maybe having that view of 3 to 5 years is the correct view. But of course, everyone wants things to happen quicker, just so you can move on to the next thing in a way.
Well, I mean, like, how old are you?
I'm 35.
All right, you're 35, and you got 30 years left of a productive career. Why would you not think in 5 or 10 year spurts? Like, why are you thinking in quarterly sessions or monthly or daily or weekly or whatever it is? Like, you've got 30 years to work. Like, how is that 30-year lifespan going to look like in your career, and how can you execute on it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the sort of debate that I'm having using one of those, which is the sort of self book, what's called the self journal kind of books, where you write your goals and you sort of set your stuff. Do you use any of that to sort of track where you are, and how do you know with what's your monthly goal, or what's your weekly goal, or what's your quarterly goal, personally or for the business?
Yeah, I mean, for me, my mind's still pretty sharp, and
I'm able so much. My mind is still pretty sharp as well. Yes.
So I'm able to organize in my head the task that I need to do, and see the goals that we have. We'll have quarterly strategy sessions with my business partners that allow us to make sure we're on focus and moving forward in the right direction, and make sure that we're moving in the direction that we want to move. And yeah, I mean, I think I'm not much of like a task guy. That's not something that I do well. It's not something that I want to do well. So my goal is to get me into the spot where I don't have to do tasks, because I'm not very good at tasks. So understanding where my strengths lie, and moving into like that storytelling, that brand telling, and helping or have a team that can execute on tasks is what I'm striving to do. So
okay,
it's challenging, and I don't foresee being in that spot for another. I mean, in a perfect world, it would be 2 years that I'd be in that spot, but I don't even know if I'll get there that quickly.
What about any sort of strategic sort of advice from outside? Do you ever get a coach or a mentor or someone for the business who maybe is in their 60s and they've been around the block, and then they can advise you on the things that you don't even think about yet, and they are like coming in and saying, what about this? Why do you do this instead of that? Like, do you ever get any of that?
Well, I would say like the relationship I have with my business partners provides a lot of that with our quarterly strategy sessions. And Jeremy is a successful entrepreneur with 3 or 4 other businesses that he's able to take lessons from and to share it with us. And then of course Lindsay's here in the day-to-day, and I'm able to lean on her a lot on a daily basis. So between the 3 of us, I feel like we've got a really good team that's built on trust. I think a lot of the challenges is, if you look at someone who's 30 years my senior, like, do they have the relevant e-commerce experience, or have they built a team with, that's a younger team? Do they understand like the current mindset of team members and things like that? So there's certainly people out there, but you have to have that trust with those mentors or those coaches to know that they would be able to give you perspective. But ideally, a coach isn't giving you tactical advice. They're giving you more of kind of mindset, accountability type of stuff. Like, why are you spending your time doing these things?
So then you can question yourself and sort of fix that yourself. Eric, final thought for anyone who either wants to start a business or are in the very early stages of being in the business. What would you say they should do, or what would you say they shouldn't do?
Yeah, it all comes back to Nike's tagline, which is just do it, and just get out there, do stuff, break stuff, figure it out, solve the problems, get better. So that's all business is just, where's a problem? Now I got to fix it. Now I got a new problem. Now I got to fix it. Now I got a new problem. Now I got to fix it. And if you're really good at solving problems, you're going to be good at business.
I like that. I like that. When I said to Marta that we're going to be talking, she was so excited. She was like, I want to see Eric. I want to see his beautiful face. No, she didn't say that. Yeah. But she, yeah. So
is she there?
No, I think she's still at work. She's still at hospital. I haven't heard her coming here. So, but yes, we've got very warm kisses and hugs virtual from my wife.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And hopefully we shall see each other next year at Menfluential, if not sooner. Because who knows? I know that there is that conference that Noah Kagan organizes every year. Was it SumoCon? I didn't go last year, but I went to the year before. That's where we went for the first time. But yeah, if he organizes one this year, who knows? Who knows?
I'll be there. I've already committed to it. So.
So it's happening. So it's 2018 SumoCon is happening then. Do you think?
Yeah. I don't know all the details of it, but I think they were going to try to do a more limited space. So you may have to kind of get in early, or know someone, or leverage your past ticket.
Uh-huh.
to get
Uh-huh.
access because I don't think they're going to grow beyond their user count.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, because there is a couple of people that I know they want to go and see Noah, and obviously he's in Austin, you in Austin, so it would make sense to visit you
Yeah,
and
Noah's a good guy,
so.
and his style is a lot different than my style, so it's good to be able to get that dichotomy of kind of my laid back approach to his very driven, high energy, kind of growth hacking
Yes.
strategy, which obviously works very well for him too.
Uh-huh. Yeah, obviously seen his tour of your office. I think that's where I saw the studio and you two talking about. That was very much a very interesting conversation. I enjoyed that because it was two different worlds, as you said.
Yeah,
Um Very interesting, but it works. It's interesting that both of those approaches work, which is
yeah, that's
helps for
why
people.
it's important to know when you get into business. There's no one right way to do something. There's
Mm.
no you have to play into your strengths and what you're good at because it's a long, hard, lonely battle. And to be able to fight that battle, you have to be doing something the way that you love to do it, or else
Mm.
you're going to burn out, you're going to give up.
Yes, exactly. So, we'll see what's going to happen next. I'll see if we can make to SumoCon, but if not, we'll definitely make to Menfluential next year. So
Yes.
if you're around there, then we're definitely going to see each other there, I think.
Sweet. I'll be at both. So
Uh,
it's always good catching up.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. I'll see if Martha is around, but I don't think she is. But anyhow, for now, thank you so much for your time. I obviously link to all of your stuff, whichever you want me to link to. But people know you anyhow, so yeah,
Yeah, I always appreciate a link back to
yes,
BeardBrand
all good.
and my Twitter handle.
Yes, you are active on Twitter, aren't you? More than anything else.
Yeah, Twitter and Reddit are my number ones.
Re- Reddit. Where's
Yeah,
this coming from?
you're
Like
not a Redditor?
I'm. It's so much. It's violence. It's vicious. It's Reddit is a bad place.
Really?
Or like you go to a forum, you say something silly, and people just they don't like things. Sometimes the moderators are so aggressive, and if you ask a question, they'll just block you because you asked the question the wrong thread or something. You're like, I didn't know. Like I don't know. Reddit is vicious. I don't I tried a few times, but I never sort of. Are you a committed Redditor?
Yeah, I got like 40,000 karma or something like that.
Nice.
Let's see here.
Are you
Reddit.
are you on
See.
are you at all talking about BeardBrand, or are you just talking about your political views and
Nah, I
and
stay off the politics.
mhm.
It's all beard brand stuff. Yeah, 57,000 karma. I'm a rock star in there. Just my passions, the
Uh-huh.
cars,
Mhm.
all the
Mhm.
hair stuff, all that. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Good. Wow. You are the first person that I know of that is on Reddit active, because everyone sort of avoids Reddit like a plague. I know I spoke to Antonio, I spoke to Aaron about this, spoke to other people, and they were like, "No, we don't go to Reddit. Reddit is bad."
No,
So I don't
Reddit's great.
know. Good. Right, Eric. Thank you so much for your time, sir. We'll catch up
Sounds
soon.
good.
Thank you
All
so
right, take
much.
it easy.